Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Russick. You're listening and watching the Russick Outlook. That's right. Surprised to see me? Well, I'm a little surprised myself, I have to tell you. But here I am. This is something that has been in the works for a little while. We built a small video production studio, so here I am in our debut. We have a lot of plans. This is just a very small component for what we're going to be doing. We will be engaging in some different aspects of building some sets and some backgrounds and green screen, and we're going to be doing some live streaming. So there's a number of things that we're going to be working on, and really a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've been listening to different people, people who have been encouraging me to get this out, to expand the horizons, expand our quality. So here we are. We started by doing PowerPoint presentations where I would, audio voice over it, as we were going through it. So we'll still be doing that, but in conjunction with some live video. So hopefully you don't mind the face. I kind of feel like I've got these sound panels behind me, and if I position myself properly, I've got big diamond ears. But so hopefully you don't mind that. But at any rate, this will be a relatively short video. The intent of this is an invitation. What I'd like to do is invite you to engage with us and to join us. Twice a month, we will be doing Zoom presentations covering different topics, much like what we do, that you are either listening to podcasts or potentially the video streaming, the video files that are on the Russick Outlook site, as well as YouTube and some other platforms we're going to be expanding to. So at any rate, the format is really to engage you and to what I would like to say, and I'll show you in a second. Well, I'm going to, let me do this. Let me jump to what it is that we're doing. So these are called online interactive Bible gatherings. And first and third Saturday of the month, we began in February. So here I am, mid-February. We've got one under our belt, and we're about to engage in another one in a couple of days. We covered the glory of God in the first one. In the next one, in a couple of days, we're going to be doing the rapture and the marriage supper of the Lamb, what I title a marriage made in heaven. But the whole idea behind this, let me segue over to the next slide if I can. And this has kind of been my inspiration, is Proverbs 27:17, where it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And that's really the idea behind this, is that we would gather together. It's a very loose, comfortable format where if you have questions, comments, or if you feel like, maybe the Lord has prompted you with something, or you have some fresh revelation that others can benefit from it, then that's the whole idea. As we dig deep into these subjects, we pause. It's back and forth. If somebody has that question or comment, we kind of break it down a little bit. It's, almost like gathering around the table, except we have to gather around the Zoom cameras and whatnot. So we'll be doing that twice a month, first and third Saturday of the month. If you're following me on video, I'm showing you the schedule there. It's February 5th and 19th. And March 5th and 19th for my podcast listeners, and April 2nd and 16th. We will be going straight through June. I have other dates on there, but always know that it's the first and the third Saturday, and we start at 4 o'clock Eastern. I do know that that may not be ideal for some people's schedules, or perhaps you're in a different time zone, but we needed to start somewhere. So this was kind of the launching spot for where we're at. I'll jump back to me on video. So, this is what we're going to be doing. But the good thing is, if you would like to join us, and maybe some, certain days just don't work for you, or you have to jump in 15 minutes late, leave 15 minutes early, something like that, that's fine. It's all well and good. There's no attendance sheet or anything like that. There's no prerequisites. All are welcome. All. No matter what your background is, and if you're a Christian or if you're not a Christian, it does not matter, because the whole idea behind this is, as many people know, if you've been listening or following, my mission personally is always to get to the truth. I believe that truth is definitive. It is like a court of law, and it sometimes may need to be argued for. And that's the whole idea here. There's so many people just play so loosely with truth, or they think it's subjective, or I'm sorry, they depending upon their point of view, or their angle, or something like that. And that's not, it's just not the way it is. And part of my mission personally is to examine the veracity of Scripture, of Jesus Christ, the validity of Christ. And I believe overwhelmingly, if you look at things objectively, you can see that the life of Christ, correct? Some people will even say we don't even know if Jesus was here. He was. I mean, you can dig through all types of different historical records well outside of the Bible, and so many other things have been documented, and we've done it here, and there's plenty of other good teachings out there and books and whatnot. But it defies mathematical plausibility. And really what we're talking about is, if you do not know the Lord, eternity is what potentially is at stake for you. So I try to bring about very openly and what's the word I want? Friendly. Like, it's not combative. I don't want to be combative with anybody, and people have different viewpoints, and my idea is to engage that and to listen to you and to offer an answer. And I think that's something that the body of Christ needs to do. We need to be able to engage people who have questions, who just are uncertain or sitting on the fence. And this is really what it's about. So that's why I say, if you're not a believer, or perhaps maybe you'd like to invite somebody who doesn't believe, or they're questioning their faith, or they've walked away from things, then this is the place. Or perhaps you have a different background, a different religious background. If you're Jewish, Muslim, if you're an atheist, if you're agnostic, it doesn't matter. All are welcome. But I will say, up front, that I'm a Christian personally, and most of the people, if not all, have been listening and giving me great feedback, are Christians. But my heart is to reach out to anybody, no matter what your background or your belief system is, and offer you that information so that you can make an informed decision. Because, like I said, I believe that what we're talking about is not only the life here on earth, what the quality of your life will be, but also when you leave this earth. And I think most people, when they look into their heart subjectively, they know intuitively that God is real, that there is a God, that we're not here by accident, that there's a plan, there's a specific purpose. And I believe that is clearly laid out. So we engage a number of different subjects. Some of the things that I'd like to be talking about in the future with these Zoom presentations would be things like dinosaurs. How do you explain dinosaurs, or the age of the earth? I know a lot of people, depending upon who you talk to, you can get answers as wide as 6,000 years to 20 billion years. I mean, that's a pretty big jump. And I think most people would like to know, what is the history of this world? Because, like I said, I think most people recognize that we're here with a plan and a purpose. Evolution would tell you otherwise, and I'm not going to go down that road here in this video. I've covered it before. I think it's something that we should look at. Look at what the sciences are teaching, and I bring sciences into it. I love science. Even as a kid, I was one of those geeks sitting at home, and I had a chemistry set. And for those who remember, Gilbert was one of them. I forget, there was another big manufacturer, Porter. Gilbert and Porter were two different manufacturers, and I was one of those geeks who dissected, fish and frogs and worms, and so I love the sciences, and so we go into a lot of that too. We go into a number of subjects. One of the things I like to cover is prophecy. And what do we see around the world today? I'll look at the headlines of today, and we'll break it down. Are there things happening? I do a monthly series where we look around the world, and does it line up or does it not line up with prophecy? And, there are some things, not only in terms of the nations and potential wars or battles, but I like to look at, what is going on religiously, what's going on in the cultures, what's going on with people. And sometimes I'll just find things as I scour the headlines around the world. I'll find things that have nothing to do with it, but just it's fun to bring up, or it might be interesting, or noteworthy. So there are things like that. The Book of Revelation obviously is an important topic. We've covered some of that before. We're looking right now at what's going on in the Middle East, in northern Israel, and the border in Syria and Lebanon, and how Russia and Turkey and Iran have their militaries in there, and how that lines up with Ezekiel chapter 38. So there's a number of things that we cover, and I'd like to invite you. I mean, that's ultimately what I'm saying. So I'd ask you to consider it. Again, there's no prerequisites. It's a very loose format. So let me kind of go back to it. Those are the dates. 4 o'clock Eastern. We last approximately 90 minutes. The format is we open for 10, 15 minutes, greeting one another, getting to know one another if we don't, or if there's any new people coming in. And also if you have prayer requests, if if you're dealing potentially with a sickness or a condition, or whatever it is, or maybe you're believing for somebody else, a family member, a friend, a coworker, things like that. So after 10 or 15 minutes, we go through the presentations, we break it down, and then we try to leave about 10 minutes or so, maybe 15 minutes for prayer, for group prayer. And that's really it. And like I said, it's very loose format. So if you feel like you need to leave, or maybe you are going to check us out and you say, it's not for me, and that's fine. But I hope that if you do try it, I think you would find it engaging, and that you would want to check it out and stick around. And I can tell you, there's some wonderful, wonderful people that this started with. It's actually, this whole aspect started from a home Bible study that I began at my home. And after a couple of months, the epidemic, I don't know if I call it an epidemic, but COVID hit. Let's just say that. I'm not going to go into the breakdowns of it, but we wanted to keep the momentum going because we thought we had a good group of people. So we basically started the Zoom presentations, and from that it kind of grew into a lot of people joining us, and then we decided to take it online with the encouragement of a lot of the people that I was working with. So that's really it. That's the abridged version of what we're doing, where we're going. The way that you would get the Zoom invitation is you have to email. So you're either on our email list, or you would email russickoutlook@gmail.com. Let me go back to the slide. So you can see that there, russickoutlook@gmail.com, and just say you'd like to join, or you'd like to have the link and the password for the presentations. And that's really it. The only other thing I would ask is that you be kind and respectful of one another, and even if you disagree, we can do so. We can do so politely. It's basically, it's kind of the old adage: we can agree to disagree if it comes to that. But most people that I find are in agreement. And the wonderful thing that I've gotten out of doing this Russick Outlook, is there's been some things that I've presented, and people had additional information that I just didn't know. So they said, "Hey, Mark, do you know about this?" Where they would, comment on one of the platforms or shoot me an email. And also we've been hearing from people outside of the United States. I'm in the New York area, but we've heard from Norway, we've heard from England, we've heard from Australia. Where else? A couple of other countries. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Canada, New Zealand. But at any rate, which is wonderful, and that's the beauty of the web, where we, get to know one another from no matter where you are. So that's the whole idea behind this. And as I said, if the dates aren't convenient, it's possible we may either expand, add another date and time, or change it down the road. But for now, this is where we're going to start, 4 o'clock Eastern. So I'd hope that you would consider. And I hope that you enjoy the fact that we're now doing video, because I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to a lot of new things, and the idea that I can do some live streaming down the road, where maybe we can address topics as they come up in real time. Even if it's a 10 or 15-minute piece. So that's really some of the things that I'm looking forward to. And again, what this is all about, really, I'll go back to the slide, engaging one another, iron sharpens iron. So on that note, I did the wrong thing. I cut to black. You can't do that. What I wanted to do, let's see if I can get this right. That's what I wanted to do. So see, this is the problem with live video, that you make mistakes, and I'm not going to edit it, so you can know what it's like, to mess up. But at any rate, that's about it. I want to thank you for your time. Questions, comments, always email russickoutlook@gmail.com. If you're not sure about your walk with the Lord, let me cut back to my face. I implore you to please consider making Jesus the Lord of your life. I think everybody can admit that we all have inherent flaws. We've all messed up. I've certainly done it. And, no matter what your situation is, Jesus is aware of it. The Word of God says that He knocks on the door of your heart, and will you let Him in? It's really that simple. And it's basically saying, Jesus, I am a sinner. Can you please come into my heart? And it's, there's more to it, but that's the bottom line. Sometimes people will say, bottom line, I'm from New York. So, that's really like cut to the chase. Let's get to it. So that's the bottom line. And the bottom line is that Jesus is Lord. So I would hope that you would consider asking Him into your heart if you have not already. So let me go back to this closing slide. And that's about it. So I hope to see you. Email russickoutlook@gmail.com, first and third Saturday of the month, 4 o'clock Eastern, approximately 90 minutes. My name is Mark Russick. You've been listening to the Russick Outlook and watching the Russick Outlook. So thank you. And remember, as always, just my opinion.